Good morning. For the last couple of days, we have been watching with interest a lot of noise, lot of sound and fury, protests within USA, cries of righteous indignation from world leaders like Merkel, Justin Trudeau, but not many others. The Muslim countries, by and large, including Al-Sisi of Egypt, King Salman of Saudi Arabia, have been very quiet. And the protest has been against the latest executive order of President Trump stopping refugees for the next 90 days. It is a repeat of what Obama had done. The only difference is that Obama had stopped refugees for a period of 120 days. So, it's a small blessing. But then why all this noise? This is the inherent power. Carter had exercised it. Bush had exercised it. Obama had exercised it. And now Trump is exercising it. While there was no cry at that time, why is all this cry now? After all, he is just implementing what he promised. And I think we should be happy that for the first time, a political leader who committed during his election campaign is putting all those commitments into practice. We ordinarily complain that the leaders after election forget their promises. Here's a leader who has not forgotten his promises, and he is being criticized right and left by the people who are involved, and especially by the people who are not involved for their political, personal whims and caprices. But Muslims ever welcome in USA? Well, the answer begs a question. The question doesn't beg an answer. Imagine 1790, the Congress with an overwhelming majority passed a law. And the law was the Naturalization Act of 1790, which reads that the citizenship of USA should be limited to any alien being from a free white nation. So only the white free nations, that means only Europe, could become the citizens of USA. And USA prides itself on human rights and no discrimination, but 1790 Act. And this continued till 1964. So this barred Muslims, browns, blacks, anybody. It had to be a free, it had to be a white. In 1981, the Supreme Court gave a judgment, especially for the Muslims, the intense hostility of the people of Muslim faith to all other sects, and particularly to the Christians, and they should not be permitted in. Early 19th and the 20th, Muslim immigrants were turned away at the US ports. And Christian immigrants who were suspected of secretly being Muslim were also excluded. Just 1 year before the First World War, 1913, a South Carolina court rejected the citizenship petition of a Lebanese Christian. And the reason for the rejection was that his skin is the color of a walnut, somewhat darker than the usual mulatto, of mixed blood of white and Negro. And this shows that his ancestors have been having sex with the Muslims. Ahmad Hassan, a native of Yemen, and the first Arab Muslim to apply for citizenship, was denied citizenship in 1942, 74 years back. The first court ruling to give citizenship to an Arab Muslim was to a Saudi Arabian in 1944. And that too also when the court said, well, he looks to be fairly white. And since he was white, now when this act was abolished, then started coming in the flood of people from South Asia. And today in USA, Muslims are 8 million people, a growth higher than any other religious group. Now let's come to the facts of the case. We have seen that basically USA has always been against getting Muslims as its citizens, in spite of all the political talk and the political correctness that has been there. Coming to this particular order, about which all the hue and cry is being raised. First, the order halts admission for 120 days, and the purpose is to increase the vetting process, the background checks. And then it says not more than 50,000 refugees would come every year. So what's wrong with that? If they want to protect the nation for a period of 120 days, and then they're going higher. Nowhere till today refugees more than 30,000 have been admitted in USA ever. Never by Carter, never by Clinton, never by Obama. And Trump is saying he'll take up to 50,000 per year. And yet there is a noise. Second part of the order, which is being criticized, there is a temporary 90 days ban from the people from 7 countries. Now it's not saying Muslims. Even the non-Muslims coming from those 7 countries are banned. So why are we calling it a Muslim ban? And can you deny that Somalia, Syria, Libya, Sudan, Yemen, they are torn by jihadi violence, and either there's a civil war going on there or they are ruled by the jihadi governments. Now again, there's another thing which has been forgotten. The ban order states very clearly the Secretary of State and Homeland Security may on case-to-case basis issue visa to the national of these countries even when visas are blocked. So, if the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security, General Mattis, they believe that somebody should be given admission without any consideration of the ban, they can order that person to be admitted. So in other words, the secretaries can make exceptions, and that would allow interpreters and other allies to enter USA without any problem, even in these 90-day period. So why all this cry then? Thirdly, he has put indefinite hold on admission of Syrian refugees till the time, now this is most important, I have determined that the sufficient changes have been made and to ensure that the admission of the Syrian refugees is consistent with the national interest. So, he might take a decision tomorrow, he might take a decision after 1 month. Why all this cry? Now coming to the deportation. In 2015, from 2009 to 2015 was 4 years or 8 years of Obama administration. In this time, 2.5 million illegal immigrants were deported. Before that, Bush deported 2 million people. So together they deported 4.5 million people. If they can deport 4.5 million people, what's wrong with deporting another 2 or 3 million as suggested by Trump? Now, secondly, the least consequential part of the order is nothing but a acceptance of Obama's practice from 2011 to 2014. It was basically Obama who had slammed the door on the Syrian refugees' admission. He had issued order that they shouldn't be admitted. So, in fact, what Trump has done is a way down than what he had said in his commitment or in his election campaign. You can read it from the beginning to the end. I've read it. And I do not find a single word saying there is a ban on the Muslims. Not a single word. To be sure, it's problematic. I understand. It's problematic for the green card holders. But there is an exception. There is the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security can bypass it easily. It's not, when I hear people talking stupidly, there's a Senator, Schumpeter, saying that the Statue of Liberty is weeping the tears. Very emotional. But tell me, where was he? And where was the Statue of Liberty? And where were the tears in 1790 when they said only white people shall be allowed the entry? Where were they in 1842? They were in 1913 till 1942. No person of color was admitted in this country. At that time, the Statue of Liberty was not weeping. And look at the rank dishonesty of CNN. They say that 134 million Muslims have been banned. Now, what they have done is they have added the population of all these 7 countries, which comes to 134 million. He has not banned all the population. He has banned all the people coming here. Do you mean to say all the 134 million people have applied for visa to come to USA? There is a rabid, lunatic fringe that seeks to take the orders, not at the face value, but absolutely in reverse, and tries to inflame emotions and passions. I was impressed by Shireen Qureshi when she said the whole thing is a prop to exploit people and their emotions. The senators are taking. And now come to the foreigners. Merkel is criticizing it. And Trudeau, magnanimous, says that he will welcome all the people whom US rejects and be prepared for the consequences. He doesn't add that. But we have got to know that. As a matter of fact, applied correctly, the order of Trump promises a fresh start to the new policies. It also maintains compassion and preserves friendships. Of course, it doesn't sacrifice self. The criticism is undesirable, and there is no reason. I've analyzed the whole order and taken in the context of the Naturalization Act of 17. You can be sure there's nothing wrong with it. The whole thing is being played up. A crescendo is building up. Now, I'm amazed, another thing which amazes me. Normally when a new government comes in, we call, for 3 months, we call it a honeymoon period. Normally we don't criticize. We just wait and watch. Here, this guy was not given a honeymoon period of even 100 minutes. CNN, ABC, New York Times, Washington Times, Democratic Party, name it, all were geared up to start tearing him, tear his policies. build mountains where not even the molehills existed. You see, this order I have taken in detail in my article today. You can see it on the Facebook, the link, or you can go to the WordPress or LinkedIn to have the details. How this order is the most innocuous order. It is much better than the order of Carter, much better than the Bush's decisions, much better than Obama's order. However, they always say, if you want to hang a dog, give the dog a bad name. And here they are trying to give the dog a bad name. As I have analyzed the order in its three forms, can you see a single item which is anti-Muslim or anti-human? And if you cannot, can anybody tell me the reason of all this sound and fury, which signifies only one thing, that they are allergic to any action which Trump takes for the sake of the country and for the sake of the world as a whole. I'm amazed. The ban is absolutely as per his commitment, rather, as I said, it's much less than what he committed. If there is to be a criticism, it should be, why is he not being as harsh as he had promised? But he has shown compassion. He has shown sympathy. He has shown essential humanity. And yet we criticize him. This only shows that we do not want to understand the reality. And we are led away by demagogues and busybodies like Merkel and other world leaders who are not connected with the people but want to pose as the saviors of the world. In case the impugned order or the suspected order is wrong, I would be the first person to condemn it. But as the analysis shows, the order is much better than what has been the tradition of USA, starting from the Naturalization Act of 1790 to the latest order of Obama, banning all refugees for 120 days. It's much better because it says that two secretaries have full freedom to give permission to anybody to enter in case of need. It is clear that he is asking for 90 days time so that a proper policy can be formulated to protect the country. He is not saying anything against them. And if protection of the country is a crime, then he is guilty. If being human and compassionate is a crime, then he is guilty. But let's wake up. Let's wake up to the reality and to the facts and not be taken in by the demagogues who want to blow up things without reason, without logic, just preying on the sentiments and emotions of the people. Think for yourself. Thank you.